This is FilmWise with Black Belt Dragon. And let me tell you, it's one crazy night. The Night of the Museum movies. Now, they're not really considered great movies, but I can say that they are good movies, and they're a lot of fun. Even though that many people who haven't been fans of the Night of the Museum movie, they're still entertaining, they're still, very funny. Ben Stiller is, like, amazing in the role. And, it's just a very solid trilogy. So, before I talk about the final movie that just came out last year, I want to talk about the first two movies that came out. Okay, so when I saw the first Night of the Museum, let's just say that, I was very young. First saw the Night of the Museum, I thought it was just a very funny movie. I thought it had a great cast of characters, and it was just a great movie. But looking back at it, I can still say it's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's got a lot of funny jokes. It's a lot of fun. It's a good adventure. It's a good start movie. Okay, so then a few years later, the second movie came out, Night of the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. Now, this movie, the first time I watched it, I did not like it at first, because I thought it was, distant from the first movie. They're like in a new location. There's, not many of the same cast are in the first movie, but there are some new characters in the film. There are many new characters, and, the situation was much more scarier and much more like deep into the film. Like it talks about the Akhman Ra, that square thing that brings everyone back to life. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it the Akhman Ra. So yeah, if you remember the Egyptian from the first movie, it's a more deeper story where his Akhman Ra is stolen from his brother, and now he has to save his Ben Stiller's character. The situation where Larry Daly has to get the Akhman Ra back from the Egyptian guy's brother. Now he has it and wants to obtain the power. It's more exciting than the first movie, but the first time I watched it I didn't like it. But then going back to it, it actually is funnier than the first movie. It was a lot more jokes, a good amount of characters. Okay, now let's get into the third movie, and literally the final of the trilogy. It's literally the final movie, Night of the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. My first, impression is I just wondered what else could they do at this point. I mean, the second movie ended where a lot of people now know about the secret of, the Akhman Ra bringing everyone back to life. It was exciting. I just didn't think that they would go another far point of this. But they somehow did. This time it's more kind of a little bit sad. You get that, but you still get that uplifting feeling. It's a wonderful conclusion to the trilogy. And this movie is actually funnier than the second one, so I'm guessing at this point each movie gets better and better and better over time. That's what you get. So in the third movie, Larry Daly returns to the museum. He's now somehow getting this big event going where everyone's gonna see these amazing what these amazing characters, the characters in the movie, what they can do. But somehow the Akhman Ra somehow is being frozen. It's starting to turn. There's ice trying to block it or something. For what we find out is that they go into England and they try to find the father of the Egyptian guy, where now he has to where his father tells him that they need to put that the Akhman Ra into the moon, because we find out a backstory where he actually was giving that gift to his son so they would live forever, and it's a deep explanation. But before the movie began, we get this little backstory of how all the artifacts of the museum get into the into the Museum of Natural History. And it's very interesting, but I didn't feel like it was a waste, but there were some points where, like, why do we need this part? We kind of know everything after seeing the previous movies, but actually it is a very helpful information because we get to know something. And so, in the third movie, a bunch of the characters come back, even like the ones that you kind of don't remember. Like, there's a little bit of a running joke where, Ben Stiller is talking to this caveman who I think is played by himself, who he say they look very alike, and this caveman all throughout this movie follows, you know, the character Larry Daly, and he's just, you know, obsessed with him, thinking that he's his like son or something. He's the son and he's the father, and there's just a lot of good jokes with this character. It's just very funny. About the good stuff in the movie, like I said, the movie is hilarious. It's way funnier than the first and second movie. It has a lot of jokes, it has a lot of great stuff. It's like, it's amazing. It's like so many things can be done in this movie. Like, you know, you would think that they would just do something that, oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, but no, it's like there's like very surprising jokes in this movie, and it's really worth it. The movie's still playing in theaters. I say, you know, to see those jokes, go see the movie. If you haven't, but I do suggest to see the previous films. And I do love the characters. There are actually more characters. There's this Lancelot character who's actually pretty funny in the movie. During around the ending of the movie, he's kind of like, I don't think this is really much of a spoiler here, but he's kind of like one of the problems in the movie. Like in the ending of the movie, he's kind of a situational problem where Larry Daly and his friends have to like go after him. And, you know, pretty much like, I love how the movies take place in different places. Like the first movie took place in New York. The second movie took place in like Washington D.C. The third movie took place in England, and that was amazing. Like how it took place in England. But let me tell you that there were some things that I didn't like in the movie. Now let's talk about the bad aspects. What I did not like is that I felt that the movie was a little bit rushed. It's obviously it is a very good conclusion to the film, but I felt like it went a little bit fast. Like one moment you're like blinking and like, wait, what just happened? Like you're blinking and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened here? Like, and also, even though there's a lot of great jokes, there are also some little bit, I think that maybe in a while, there's a little bit of like a few dated jokes that's not going to catch on. There's like a joke in like around the beginning of the movie where they're at the museum, and there's this one joke which I did find funny, but like I don't know how long that's gonna last because, you know, it's probably gonna be eventually a dated joke. I don't know, but I do have to say that, you know, even for all the bad stuff, it's still, you know, it's a little clumsy, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's definitely still very entertaining. My overall thought of the movie, like I said, it's a great end to the trilogy. It's a very solid trilogy. I cannot wait to get these movies on Blu-ray together because I do like to see how, like, what was behind the scenes in the movie, like what was going on through all three films. It's definitely a solid trilogy. It's a good end to the Night of the Museum films. I give this movie trilogy an A. Okay, Black Belt Dragon, signing out, and I'll see you on my next review.